My mother wants me to marry my abusive stepbrother. Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. Today I'm sharing a story that's been a nightmare in my life, and it's all thanks to my mother and her insistence that I, a 29-year-old woman, marry my creepy stepbrother Chris, who's 42. She's even harassing me at work and lying about my inheritance. The early years, a nightmare. Begins, my mom married Chris's dad when I was 4 and he was 17. Both our parents were widowed. After the wedding, we moved to the U.S. My mom had American citizenship through her marriage and I was born here too. However, after my biological dad died when I was 1, my mom and I moved back to Colombia for a few years. My stepfather eventually got his residency through marriage, and Chris, who was still a minor, moved with us. He was never a fan of me. My only memories of Chris are constant bullying. Since he was studying locally and lived with my parents, he was often left in charge of me. But his babysitting usually involved locking me in the guest bathroom or the shed outside. He'd steal my lunchbox on the way to school and even started harming my pets. I have an old cat who's been with me for almost 22 years, and he tried to run her over with his car more than once. My parents never believed me. Chris was the classic golden child. My mom always wanted a son, so he took priority. The escalation of abuse. The bullying just got worse and creepier. He had a long key for the bathroom door, designed to open it, if it accidentally locked from the inside. He'd use it to walk in on me while I was showering. My underwear would disappear sometimes, and I knew it was him. He even started taking pictures of me sleeping. One night, I woke up to him sexually assaulting himself next to me while I slept. I screamed and my parents rushed in, but I was blamed for tempting him. I was 14, he was 27. No one helped me and he got bolder, eventually doing something. I'm still in therapy for finding sanctuary and building a new life. When I was 16, I reached out to my biological half-brother Sam, who's 48, and his wife Sandy, to see if I could live with them for my last 2 years of high school. When Sam found out what was happening, he confronted my mom. She didn't care and simply told him to take me, as long as he never asked her for money. Done and done. Sam and Sandy became my legal guardians, taking me in along with my cat and the old family dog. I didn't trust leaving any living creature with Chris around. My parents never checked on me. Thankfully, my extended family from my father's side knew what happened and rallied to ensure I finished school well and went to college. I have no contact with my maternal family. Thanks to my paternal family, including Sam's mother and her family, I earned my bachelor's and master's degrees with no student debt and now work as a nurse practitioner. I still live with Sam, Sandy, and their 2 kids, paying a small rent. They never expected me to pay, but it's the least I can do for the people who've cared for me for 13 years. For those wondering why I haven't moved out, it's incredibly expensive where I live, and Sam insisted I stay until I save enough to buy my own home. The demand for money and escalating harassment. Things were okay until my mom messaged me recently. She hadn't contacted me since I was 18, when she told me she no longer had any responsibility for me. In this message, she sounded overly friendly, saying she missed me and asking how I was doing. I was creeped out but decided to be nice, telling her about my life since leaving her care. She seemed very interested, apparently knowing I was a nurse but not what kind. She started asking about my salary, but I only told her it was enough to pay the bills. Then she started texting about Chris, complaining he was barely making money due to student debt. Apparently, he never finished a degree, jumping from career to career. He's now a salesman in my stepfather's used car business, but most of his pay goes to substantial student debt. I told my mom I was sorry he was having a hard time and wished him luck. That's when she finally got to her point. I needed to pay off his student debt so he could finally make the money he deserves like the man of the family. I just turned off my phone. The invasion and legal action. When I got home, Sam was surprised since I'm usually the last one there. Sandy wasn't home yet. I told Sam what happened and showed him the texts. I don't think I've ever seen him that angry. He told me to block my mom, stepfather, and Chris if I hadn't already. After talking with Sam and Sandy, I called my boss to ask for the next 2 days off, giving me a 4-day weekend. My boss was incredibly supportive. This backfired. The next day, my mom and Chris showed up at Sam's house. I was alone, as Sam, and Sandy were at work and the kids were at school. I immediately called Sam, who told me not to open the door and that he was on his way. My mom spent the whole time screaming that I owed them for raising me and that my sweet brother deserved the money. Chris was trying to find an unlocked window or door, but there were none. Our windows have safety bars, and the other doors were secured. I won't repeat what he called me when he saw me through a window, but he basically said they should have thrown me away as a baby since I grew up to be a burden. He pounded on a window so hard he cracked the glass. Eventually, he gave up and tried to kick down the front door. I wasn't worried about the security door, but I was terrified. Amidst the yelling, threats, pleading, and insults, I finally heard Sam screaming at them to get lost. I watched from the window as Sam pretty much dragged them both off the porch. They moved out of earshot, but I saw my mom and Chris looking pale and scared before they ran to their car and sped off. Sam came in shortly after, immediately going into full protective brother mode, asking if I was okay and repeatedly apologizing, and hugging me. Sandy arrived almost immediately, looking ready to commit a felony. Apparently, Sam threatened them with filing charges for what Chris did to me when I was 16. My brother's ace in the hole. My stepfather was willing to testify against his own son. That seemed enough to get Chris off our backs, but not my mom. The Bay, ongoing harassment and new discoveries. In the 3 days since, my mom has sent nonstop texts and calls from various numbers. She's also rallied a group of people she claims are my maternal family to harass me for money, claiming it's legally hers as my mother and my late father's missed child support. Sam is helping me find a lawyer to get a restraining order against my mom, and I plan to take my stepfather's offer to testify by pressing charges against Chris. I can't forgive my stepfather for not stopping his son sooner, but I appreciate that he's trying now. I don't know the details, but Chris did something to a relative on his dad's side, leading to a major fallout between them. I'm taking my boss's offer for more vacation days, but my therapy sessions are getting intense. Thankfully, my dark sense of humor and supportive paternal family are keeping me somewhat sane. Updates. Legal battles and public accusations. I didn't expect to update so soon, but my mother is relentless. To those who offered kindness and advice, earlier, thank you so much. It truly helps during difficult times. I froze my credit and am getting a new phone for personal use, though I'll keep my old one for work for a bit. We're moving forward with pressing charges and might pursue a civil lawsuit for 2 years of child support my mother owes. We're unsure of our chances, but my brother wants to go scorched earth. As for my mother, she started a new campaign, posting false accusations about me, accusing me of sexually assaulting Chris and claiming I was a temptress who tried to sleep with my brother for years. She even got a few women, who I just found out are supposedly my aunts, to join in, claiming they were witnesses. I've never met these women. My stepfather actually commented on her post, calling my mom a liar and accusing his own son of being a pedophile. That's how I found out about the big fallout between them. My stepbrother apparently went after one of my stepfather's nieces. I don't know the girl's age, but she's around my age or younger. Many of my biological father's relatives have also taken to social media to call out my mother, saying she always claimed to be an orphan with no family, but now suddenly has 3 sisters. It's a mess. I'm just watching for now and being a stay-at-home aunt. My nephews love it since we go out for crazy shenanigans after their homework. My boss has helped me with paperwork for a 6-week leave of absence, after which I'll mostly work from home for a few weeks. It's not the greatest update, and honestly, things aren't fun, but it's nice to spend time with the kids. Also, to clarify, no, my mom is not in a relationship with my stepbrother, as some people suggested. My mom always wanted a son and was disappointed I was a girl. She treats my brother like he's her real son and genuinely loves him as a mother. She made sure to tell me how disappointing my birth was to her. Update 2. The deeper betrayal. My mother was widowed when I was 1. My biological father was much older than her, with a 20-plus year age difference. After he died, she remarried her hometown sweetheart and adopted his 17-year-old son. My dad was American, and my mom is Colombian. I was born in the U.S. Then we moved back to Colombia for a few years, returning to the U.S. when I was 4. My whole life, my mother constantly complained about me being a girl. She'd say things like, "If you were a boy, maybe we could have gotten more from your father," or "Girls are so useless." All I was to her was the problem child. She took my inheritance and squandered it, mostly on things for my stepbrother. Whenever she had guests, she'd introduce me and joke about how I ruined her body and wasn't even worth it, since I was a girl. Most of her friends thought I had some kind of mental illness because of her lies about me being mentally behind. She used derogatory terms and often blamed it on my gender, saying that because I was born a girl, I was clearly inferior. During holidays, I'd be left with a sitter. I was just too much of a problem child and would ruin things for my sweet brother. We only have one family picture from when I was 5. If I got anything nice with my own money, my mother would take it. If it was makeup or clothes, she'd say I wasn't attractive enough or worthy enough to have such nice things, and should just stick with a plain face to make it easier to find a job after high school. She had no intention of letting me go to college. But the worst part is she never protected me. My stepbrother is a predator. At first, he just bullied me, stealing my food and locking me in dark places. When I hit puberty, he started doing worse things. Walking in on me while I showered, even if I locked the door, stealing my underwear, watching me sleep, and he even sexually assaulted me when I was 16 and he was 29. My mother blamed it on me, saying I was tempting her poor, sweet boy. I was saved by my biological half-brother and his wife. They took me in at 16, finished raising me, and put me through college with the help of my paternal family. Even my father's first wife pitched in and has always been kind to me. She's more of a mother to me than my own mother ever was. Now, I'm 29, have a good career as a nurse practitioner, and am saving to buy my own home. My mother found out and has been demanding I give her my money because she's my mother and it should be hers. She also demands I pay off my abusive stepbrother's student loans. Since I refuse to comply with my dear mother's demands, she's gone online, posting that I'm a temptress, trying to ruin her son's life, and that I refuse to pay her back for all the care and love she supposedly gave me. She even got some women, supposedly my aunts, to join her in this. I've never met any of my maternal family. As far as I knew, my mother was an orphan. Now I suddenly have 3 aunts who claim to have seen how bad a person I am. Update 3. Uncovering the truth and legal consequences. This might be my last update about my mother and stepbrother as we're finally starting the legal fights, but I finally had a good laugh. In my previous post, I hadn't said much about my biological father. He died when I was 1, so I never really met him. I have one picture of him holding me as an infant, and I mostly know him from stories from his family. What I do know is that he was a man of means. He had a lot of assets that he carefully divided in his will, not never have to work rich, but enough for me to live comfortably as long as I worked and managed my finances well. I wasn't aware he had left me anything, and neither was my half-brother Sam. I'm the daughter of an affair partner turned second wife. My understanding was that anything I inherited was wasted by my mother to buy things for her stepson, Chris, whom she prefers. He was my abuser growing up. In her words, "Daughters don't need inheritance. Just marry a wealthy old man like me." Well, since my mother and Chris have been harassing me lately, we drove to my dad's lawyer to get some records for the lawsuit we're planning. He's a sweet older man who looks a bit like my dad and was his best friend. When we met, he hugged me and told me how happy he was to finally meet me. His wife was there too, and she also gave me a big hug, telling me we needed to have dinner at their place. Once we all caught up, we discovered my mother had been faking receipts to get money from my trust. A lot of it. Some of which was from when I was under Sam's guardianship. She's not the executor of my trust and had to provide receipts for anything she took. She's been sending receipts claiming they're for me because I'm still in medical school, even though I finished school in 2021. Well, her meal ticket not only got torn, but now she's in big trouble because this is fraud. And basically, my hands are tied about pressing charges. She claims me as a dependent on her taxes, so my dad's lawyer would refund her for her expenses. He basically told me there's no way we can keep this in civil court. He had to contact the IRS and the police. It doesn't help that she's been using my social security number for some things she shouldn't. Thank you to the people who advised me to freeze my credit. You guys saved me for sure. I probably won't be able to post for a while since I'm going to be incredibly busy. I'm just mentally exhausted from how much has happened. I wouldn't have done anything about my mom using my trust if she had just left me alone. I wouldn't even know about it because the trust is set for me to take over with proof of marriage or graduation from college. Since I didn't know about it, I never sent the required paperwork to take control. She could have milked it dry if she left me alone and just kept sending fake information. I'm in the process of getting what's left of my trust. There's quite a bit in it, and it should be enough for me to get a house or condo if I combine it with my savings and still have some left over to invest or do other things safely. I might wait a while to buy anything, though. I don't know how safe it would be since my mom still has my social security number. Update 4. Public humiliation and continued threats. Hey Reddit, this is more of a personal rant than a full update. Things are only starting on the legal side, so no real news I'm allowed to share. This is more personal since I just came home from my mother harassing me at a bar. It was not fun. Short background. My mother is a greedy liar who allowed her stepson, Chris, 13 years older than me, to abuse me since I was a child. First, it was physical abuse. Then sexual abuse started when I was 14 and continued until I was 16. Now, she wants me to clear his student debt, and she's been mooching off my biological father's inheritance. As for last night, I decided to go out with some girlfriends for a girls' night. Sam and Sandy have been encouraging me to get out for a while. We went to a bar. I mostly stuck to the stools by the bar as I'm a massive introvert, but I like seeing my friends have fun, so I was just drinking and chatting with the bartender, passing the time. My good mood was ruined when I noticed my mother, thankfully alone, walking toward me. The moment she saw me, she launched herself to hug me and started crying, saying how much she'd missed me and how different I looked. I was trying really hard to get away from her, but she started causing a scene. She began begging for us to reconcile, saying she was sorry I took my stepbrother's affection the wrong way, and that they both love me and want me to live with them. She was loud, and people were looking at me, some even feeling sorry for her, and I had people encouraging me to hug my mom back. It was embarrassing and just so wrong. I just exploded and told her to leave me alone, then walked out. That was even worse because she kept following me with 2 or 3 random people, calling me a terrible daughter. She kept swearing that Chris truly cares for me and wants us to be a family again. She even said that he found me so beautiful that he couldn't help himself when he sexually assaulted me. She said, when he made love to you, as if it was something consensual. I was a minor when he attacked me. He was almost 30. I just started crying and screaming at her to go away and leave me alone. Thankfully, one of my more sober friends called, Sam, and he came over very fast. He scared away my mom and took me home. I'm now 100% sure I don't want to go out again. For people wondering why I never called the cops, I called the cops since I was 11 to report the abuse. I reported what he did to me at 16, and they took his side. I don't trust them. I truly believe cops don't care about sexual assault victims. I'm just writing this to get it out of my system. My therapist is unavailable, so Reddit is the next. Best thing update. 5. Work confrontation and a disturbing letter. Hey, it's been a bit, sorry for the radio silence. Some people asked for updates, but things had been pretty quiet until this weekend, so I had nothing to post. I know people usually do a recap, so a quick summary. My mother has always preferred my stepbrother Chris, 42, who was my abuser growing up. The abuse lasted from when I was 11 until I was 16, when I moved in with my half-brother after the worst attack. Recently, my mother tracked me down, and she and my stepbrother have been harassing me. Currently, I'm in a legal fight against them to recover stolen inheritance from my father and resolve other matters. This weekend, my mother once again decided to confront me at work. I was working from home doing clerical work for the clinic. I'm a nurse practitioner, but I took on some clerical duties to be able to work from home when the mess with my mother and Chris began. That work from home period has since ended, so I'm back in the clinic seeing patients. Saturday went well and quiet. Sunday, however, I noticed someone with my mother's first name, but not her last name. My mom has a very unique, old-sounding name, and I've only seen it twice in my whole life. Of course, there's a big Latino community where I live, so I just assumed it was another person. We're from a Colombian family, though I was born in the U.S. to an American father. Lo and behold, it was my mother using a fake last name. When I saw her, I immediately called my boss. She's aware of the situation and immediately went to ask my mother to leave the premises. This might seem controversial, so to explain, my mother was there for a general checkup, not a life-or-death treatment. She was not denied for protected reasons, but because I, as a staff member, felt my life was in danger in her presence. There are many other clinics with varying prices, and they're open to new patients, so she could get her checkup anywhere else. This is allowed under our state's law. If she was hyperventilating or clearly in distress, we wouldn't have been able to ask her to leave. My mother, of course, went on a rampage, demanding to be seen by me specifically. My boss, thankfully, was not intimidated and just insisted my mother had to leave or else the cops would be called. After a back and forth that I watched from the security cameras, this all happened in our waiting room, my mother threw a letter at my boss and left, fuming. She even pushed a lady who was walking in, though thankfully no one was hurt. My boss brought me the letter and told me she'd make sure not to assign me any patients with my mother's first name and went to make arrangements with our front desk. I took a break and decided to read the letter, mostly to see if it was something I could use for my legal case. Here's my best translation. My lovely daughter, it hurts me so much that you refuse to speak to me. I love you so much, and all I want is to recover the years we've lost. I only have you left from your father, whom I love dearly. I know there are a lot of misunderstandings with Chris. He loves you so much too, and I wish you would give him a chance to prove it to you. He always talked about how beautiful you are and how much he wished you two could spend more time together. He truly adores you, and I wish you would consider his feelings more. He even asked me to convince you to marry him, and I think it's a wonderful idea. Papa, your stepfather, and I are probably divorcing, and this will be the perfect solution so Chris, you and I can stay a family. He keeps going on and on about how much he wants to raise your and his baby together. Let me know when you want to go shopping for wedding dresses. I love you, my darling. Mom, I'm going to share a few personal notes here. I am unable to get pregnant after Chris's attack. I had some medical complications that have left me unable to conceive. My mother knows about it, Chris knows about it, the cops know about it. They ruled the whole thing as consensual sex, and because I was 16, the legal age of consent, nothing was done. I showed this to my lawyer, and he added it to the compilation of things we're using for the legal case. Still no court date, and the cops don't consider my case risky enough to do the paperwork for a restraining order. I do have one officer who is taking this very seriously and has been amazing. It's just the majority who don't seem to care or have too much on their docket to give my case time. Breaking news. Chris arrested. I'm going to update here since it's only been 3 days and it feels dumb to make a new post. Chris has been arrested. Apparently, he kidnapped a 2-year-old baby girl, his cousin's daughter no less. The baby was recovered safe and unharmed from what I heard. I'm glad she wasn't taken for long. Who knows what the hell he wanted to do to her? If I hear more details, I'll update. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more shocking real-life stories happening around you.